So obviously this one is cheaper, but is it worth it? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be trying out some Dollar Tree permanent vinyls. This is actually my first time trying them out, and I'm going to be comparing them to some Oracal permanent vinyl. This is a vinyl that I always use, so I want to see how the Dollar Tree one compares to this brand right here. And I'm also going to be comparing some holographic vinyl that I got from Amazon to the Dollar Tree one, so we shall see how these work out. So these Dollar Tree vinyls have actually been around for a few months. I remember first hearing about these through TikTok. People were like, run, Dollar Tree sells vinyl now. So it took me a few months to try them out, but finally we're trying them out. And obviously it was intriguing because these are only $1.25, and that's super cheap for vinyl. So the first time that I saw these in store, there was actually a lot that were gone. I guess this was the time when they first came out. A lot of people ran to get some, so there wasn't really many options, so I just waited. I was like, let me give myself some time. And when I finally went back, they were stocked up. They had a bunch of colors. So I saw that they offer permanent vinyl in solid colors. They also have an iridescent, and then I saw glitters as well. But I also saw that they have removable vinyl, which is cool. And then they came out with a bunch of tools that you need when it comes to Cricut. So Dollar Tree knows people are using Cricut, and they're trying to step up their game because there's like a bunch of tools for Cricut now over there. So if you're interested, definitely check them out. So today we're gonna see if the Dollar Tree vinyl compares to the Oracal 651, which is Oracal's permanent vinyl. But before we get into the comparison, let's talk about pricing. So like I mentioned, the Dollar Tree one is $1.25, and for $1.25 you get 4 feet of these. So breaking it down, for a 12 by 12 inch sheet, this one is 31 cents. And now for the Oracle 651, this one is 65 cents a sheet. You can get this one in rolls as well, which is usually $3.25 for a 5-foot roll. So breaking it down either way, this one is 65 cents a sheet, and this one is 31 cents a sheet. So obviously this one is cheaper, but is it worth it? We shall see. So if you want to see how the Dollar Tree compares to the OG Oracle, then let's get started. So here are the vinyls that I'm going to be comparing. On this side I have the Dollar Tree vinyls, so it's 2 solids and then an iridescent. Then on this side, these two right here are the Oracle 651 permanent vinyls. And then to go with the iridescent, since I don't think Oracle even makes iridescent, I went with this one right here. It's similar but not the same, you know, it's still iridescent, but this one right here is from Amazon. So I'm gonna battle these two against each other and then these against each other. And I know these aren't the exact same color, but we're here to compare their performance, not exactly how they look. Because either way, it's still a solid color, so they're similar. So it doesn't matter that it's like the same shade of pink or not. So it's all good. Here we have a better look at both of them. So right off the bat, from just handling them, you could tell that this one is a bit thinner than this one. This one doesn't seem as flimsy as this one. Like obviously this one is curling up because it's in a roll, and for these I only have sheets, so that's why it's staying flat. I don't think that has anything to do with the thickness, but yeah, you can just feel that it's thinner. And then for the Dollar Tree, this one doesn't have anything on the back, it's just plain paper. And then the Oracle one, this one has a grid, and then it says the type of Oracle that it is, which is a 651. And this right here comes super handy when it comes to you having like different types of vinyls. Like this actually tells you what it is. You don't have to figure out what it is, you know, unless you write it down. So I really appreciate that Oracle actually puts the type of vinyl that it is. And now for the iridescents, I did want to mention how they look once they're opened. So I know these aren't the same type. Oh my god, look, I just ripped it. Oh well. So when you unroll it, okay, you unroll it, but it's still smooth, you know? You see there's no lifting or anything. Now for this one right here, it's a different story. Let me show you, because I already went ahead and cut some pieces. Just look, do you see that? How it's folding out? See? Like, you see, and then it just goes up. So not even a big portion of it stays smooth, it just starts folding. So that's not a good thing, because when I went to cut, let me show you, let me cut a piece. So let's cut a piece. Let's cut this whole piece. Obviously, when it comes to cutting your design, you're not gonna cut it with those, you know? So what I usually like to do is just take my brayer and roll it back gently. So luckily that didn't cause any damage to the vinyl, but it's still inconvenient that you have to do that, you know? So let's take it smoothly. So this is gonna take forever, so I'm not even gonna do it. But another thing you can do is, if it's like close to the edge, I would say just lift it a little bit and then smoothly push it back, and then take your brayer and just continue it. So that kind of solved the problem, but still it's kind of annoying that you have to do that. Especially if you're doing a big image, you're gonna have to fix it because it just unravels on its own, you know. So since I did a piece on this one, let's try this iridescent one. Or I don't even need to do it because it didn't even unravel, so we're not gonna do it. Okay, look right there, it's unraveled. Can you see? So I'm gonna try with this one and see if it's easier. Boom. Easier. I will say this one, I don't even know if it's thinner. Doesn't really seem like it. But yeah, it just sucks that this one has those little bubbles, you know? So definitely a big difference between the iridescent one from Dollar Tree versus the regular solid one from Dollar Tree. So these are the designs that I'm going to use. So for this one right here, I'm gonna use the regular solid vinyls. And then for this one, I'm gonna use the iridescent vinyls. So for the purple color right here, that one I'm gonna cut using the regular vinyl cut setting because that's usually what I do when it comes to working with permanent vinyl. But then for the pink one, I'm gonna switch it up and use the washi tape cut setting because as you can see, there's small little sections here, and usually when it comes to small sections, I like using the washi tape because I feel like it has a better cut. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm also doing this because I wanna see how the Dollar Tree vinyl cuts with this setting because it does feel super thin. So I feel like this one might work better in comparison to the vinyl cut setting, so we'll see what happens with that. And then for the iridescent vinyls, I'm just gonna use the holographic vinyl cut setting. Here they are after they've been cut. The Oracals right here, those cut fine. There's no tearing or lifting or anything. And remember, these were cut with the vinyl setting and then these with the washi tape. So it did not make a difference with this one because it's still fine, no lifting or anything. Even the holographic one, this one cut fine as well. These on the other hand, it's a different story. So this one right here was cut with the vinyl setting, but I don't know if it must have been too much pressure or what. Because look, it kind of wanted to rip on me. Can you see how it like was lifting as I was pulling it from the mat? And I used a brand new mat, so it didn't have anything to do with my mat being dirty or anything. But yeah, this one, I think it must have been too much pressure. So hopefully that's not an issue when it comes to weeding it. And the washi tape, that one actually worked out fine because it didn't cut through or anything. So the washi tape cut setting, I guess so far is the one to use with this type of vinyl. Same thing with the iridescent one. This one also wanted to rip on me. Can you see right there, the little hole? And then it just bubbled up the whole vinyl as I took it off. That's not gonna be an issue because I'm gonna smooth it out, but it kind of sucks that it like bubbled up. This one is just so sensitive to itself, like it doesn't stick to its backing, because this one, when I pulled it off, there's no bubbles. So this one for sure is very, very not sticky to itself, you know? So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take my little brayer and try to smooth out the sections. Alright, there, I fixed it. The little bubbles that you see there, I'm gonna weed them out anyway, so that's no problem. And then we have this one. Let me just smooth it out a little bit. Shall we smooth this one? Let's just smooth it. So there we go. Now looking at both of these closely, they both have very smooth lines with the cutting. Like sometimes some vinyls might give you like little crooked lines, like not smooth, but this one seems to be smooth. The only issue I guess would be the whole pressure of it because it wanted to rip through. But other than that, the cut seems to be really smooth. Now these two were cut using the washi tape setting, and I'm so glad that I did because these little stars right here are so small and these were barely cut, even those little sections around the letters. So if I wouldn't have used the washi tape, it would have for sure been a disaster. So I'm glad that I used that. And these are pretty smooth, even though these are small. It does have pretty smooth lines. And then this one, the lines are smooth as well, but the edges are a little bit more jagged than this one right here. So that's for sure one of the differences. Like this one, it doesn't have, like the point of the star isn't an exact cut like that. It's kind of like if the blade struggled, it like goes up. Kind of like struggled and then came down. So that's how these little sections are. You could tell that in the edges it struggled, but it's definitely not as bad as this one right here where it just ripped. So hopefully this one weeds easy, even though I use the washi tape setting, because with washi tape it's less pressure. So hopefully it cut all the way through. Now for the iridescence, can you see this one? No bubbles at all, so that's definitely a really good thing. This one, can you see the little bubbles, even though I smoothed it out? Luckily the bubbles aren't where I'm gonna need the image, but still kind of sucks that it bubbles on itself so much. So you could tell this one is very delicate. Look, it's even lifting already. Oh look, there's extra. You know how I had to push it and then you have the ripping right there? So hopefully I don't struggle with that. I'm gonna start off with the Oracal 651 just because I'm familiar with these. You see, super easy. I like doing the insides of the letters first because I feel like my letter moves less than if I do the whole outside. So I like to start with the insides. So far, so easy. Sometimes you need your weeder to help you, and sometimes you don't. I think it just depends on your design. So far, not that bad. Definitely not as easy as HTV. Dude, HTV is so damn easy to weed. That's why I prefer working with it, because, you know, permanent vinyl takes a little longer. You have to, like, control it with, like, your weeding pen and everything. But yeah. And I like cutting as I go, because sometimes these can get in the way. So I just cut it just to get it out of my way. I don't know why the word drink was harder than thoughts, but it was definitely harder than this one. And there you have it. See, not that hard. Now time for the real test, the Dollar Tree one. So let's go. And I'm gonna start with the insides again. Oh, not bad. Not bad. This one seems to come out faster than the other one. Maybe because it's thinner and it's not as stuck to the backing as the other one. Now, the moment of truth, since it's ripped, let's see. Oh, not bad at all. So with this one, I kind of also have to push it down so it doesn't lift. But usually with vinyls, I tend to do that anyways, so not much of a difference there. Definitely easy to weed, look it. Wow, not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Now this one is definitely gonna be a struggle because of all the little cuts that are inside, so let's get started. See, it doesn't want to stay. I'm thinking I should just take it out, like not even struggle with it. Let me just take it out and let's try the Dollar Tree one. Let's try the same spot. See, this one didn't even cut all the way through. There's a little line right there that didn't make it. See, this one's hard as well. Wait, almost got it, but I lifted it. Oh my god. Do you see it right there? I'm just gonna take it out. This design is just too complicated for this little section. So let's just go back to this one, and if they don't weed, it's fine, as long as the big ones do. I don't know why I chose such a complicated design for such a little size. My little star doesn't wanna stay down. So the washi tape cut setting does make things take longer because it's not as deep of a cut as the vinyl cut setting. But I like to use it because it gets all the little small designs. But the downside is that it just takes forever to weed. So that's why with this, I'm taking forever. 10 years later, but I finally finished. As you can see, those little small sections, some of them are lifting because as I was lifting, I had to like rip it off of the piece that it was attached to. So this design is definitely not for like small sizes because as you could tell, these little sections just like lift and just was super hard to weed. So definitely not the best idea to use this design. But now let's move on to the Dollar Tree. Hopefully I don't struggle as much as I did with this one. So let's see how it goes. So this one is also hard on the little sections. And then the vinyl just keeps lifting, like it's not sticking to this. So it's making me struggle even more. So this one was also time consuming to weed, but I do feel like this one was kind of easier to weed on the small sections because I don't know if you could tell, but I have more that survived than this one right here. And then this one, these edges aren't lifting like these are. So since this one is thinner, I would say this one might be better for small intricate cuts like this one instead of the Oracal one since it is a little bit thicker. So I'm actually surprised that this one survived, you know, even though they are a little wobbly. I need to put them into place. But yeah, I'm very, very surprised that this one survived. Oh my god, look, even though I missed those sections. Oh well. So some sections did survive, some sections didn't survive. But overall, both of them weeded, and at least they weeded, you know? Now time for the iridescent ones. So this one I kind of have to stab my pen in there more. My tool. And I've never had issues with this vinyl. I've been using it for some time now and I really like it. Let's see how easy. See? Super easy. Wait, I almost forgot. See? Super duper easy. Now let's try this one. Damn, I scratched it already. You see that? I don't know if you could even tell. My little pointer like went like that. So you have to be careful because these little lines, this thing is so sensitive. Oh my god. See, and it can't even get stuck to itself. Okay, so with this one you have to be extra careful. Damn, you can't even touch it with the point. Alright, let's see how easy this one is. Okay, so far so good. So this one for sure is way thinner than the holographic one. Like way thinner. It almost kind of feels thinner than the solid Dollar Tree vinyl. But yeah, definitely easy, but super duper sensitive. Like you don't want this point touching it, you know? Because look at, you see? Can you see that line? I don't know if you could see, but super sensitive. And there you have it. Very easy to weed, but dude, you need to be careful with this one. So here they are after they've been weeded. For the most part, they were all fairly easy to weed, especially these and these. These, of course, were hard because of the design that I chose, like those little sections in the middle. But I guess that was part of the test to see how well these work with intricate cuts. I did miss some little pieces here and here, but it is what it is, you know? I think I'm gonna take them off for the final result. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, overall, no major issues when it came to weeding these. So I'm gonna be putting the vinyls on these drink pouches right here, and I'm not gonna lie, this is the second time that I'm doing this because the first time I used this transfer tape right here, which I think is too much of a strong grip for these because the vinyl just did not want to come off. So I'm gonna go ahead and attempt it again using this contact paper right here, which is from the Dollar Tree as well. It's just regular shelf liner paper. So I'm gonna try with this one, so we'll see if that makes a difference because this strong grip was a struggle. So this is take 2. So starting off with the iridescent, I'm taking my transfer tape and I'm just gonna go ahead and rip a section at the top. And I'm gonna make sure to cover the whole thing. Then I'm gonna lift the backing. And then with the squeegee, just bring it down. And then I'm just gonna press it down. Usually with this hollow vinyl, I use the strong grip tape, but I'm telling you, I was on the struggle bus with that tape. So let's just stick with this one. There you go. So it was a little bit harder, but I think the material of this pouch right here just works best with this light grip tape. So let's go ahead and put it. I'm just gonna center it. Let's press it down. Now let's peel. Yep, this tape for sure was way easier than the other tape. So far, so good. I'm just gonna press it down some more. And there we have the holographic one. So far, so good. Next, we have the iridescent Dollar Tree one. So let's see how this one works with this one. Totally lifted it way easier than the other one. And can you see how the blade just cut through the paper a little bit? I don't even know if you could tell, but I don't know, that holographic cut setting might be a little bit too deep for this one because like I stated, it did rip, so keep that in mind. But now let's just go ahead and put it on our pouch, see how easy this is and see if it actually sticks. Moment of truth. Damn it. Alright, there you go. I kind of ripped the S a little bit, but dude, this one worked out way, way, way better than the other tape. Because oh my god, I'm gonna insert a clip of the other one because I was struggling with that one. So definitely pay attention to the type of tape that you use depending on what type of product you're using, because I usually tend to use that one. I'm telling you, I use this one all the time with every other things that I use, but I guess since they're hard, it's like different. So I don't know, but with this and the pouches and stuff, definitely stick to a light grip mat. So far so good. Now let's do Oracal, since that's the one I'm the most familiar with, and I'm just gonna keep using the same tape just to not waste any, you know. And I'm just gonna make it smaller. This is why I use the other one, because it's harder to lift, you know. Oh, I'm all peeling it thinking it's doing it and it's not. This one for sure is harder, but I already used the other tape and I just don't want to have the same issues. So we're gonna make this one work. If you're struggling with this type of tape, just try to work by sections and like push each edge down and work as you go, and then it just gets the hang of it, you know? And there we have it. So let's just put it on our pouch. Alright, so let's peel it. And once again, what a major difference. What a major difference. Now let's do the other one. And I ended up taking off the little sections this second time around because I just took too long, you know, and this was my second time doing it and I didn't want to have to struggle again. So that's why they're missing. But here we have the second layer. And there you have the Oracal one. This one pressed nicely as well. So now on to the Dollar Tree. Let's go ahead and do the same thing. This one is actually the reason why I'm doing it a second time, because as you can see right here, this little sucker right here didn't want to press. So because of this one is why I'm doing it again. So we shall see the real test if this one actually presses with this one. If it doesn't, I'm gonna be mad because this is my second time doing it. So look at the difference. There we have the contact paper from Dollar Tree, and here we have Frisco Craft from Amazon. This one is more clear, more thicker. This one has a little bit of like frostiness to it. I don't know how to say it. It's not as see-through as this one, but it's a lighter grip. So let's see if it actually works. Moment of truth, let's go ahead and put it. And this one, as you saw, this one was way easier to lift off the backing in comparison to the Oracle. Maybe because it's like thinner, so it's not as stuck on there as the other one. Because like I stated, the backing is like very flimsy, like doesn't even want to stick to it. So maybe that's why it picked it up easier, you know? So now let's go ahead and see if I didn't waste my time doing it a second time. Oh my god, dude. Let's press it a little bit harder. Okay, so it's still kind of lifting, but it's not like the other tape was, you know? So this one for sure I have to press down with my fingers. Ah, there we have it. Oh my god, thank god it worked, because I would have been so mad. So now let's go ahead and do the other layer as well. You see? Super easy. So here we have the Dollar Tree one. Here we have both of them side by side. Obviously the big difference is the color. This one looks more saturated, but like I stated, we weren't going based off color. But looking at both of them, it looks like this one doesn't have any bubbles, which is a good thing, because when it comes to vinyl, you don't want it to have bubbles. And this one doesn't seem to have any either. So both of these definitely passed that test. But I will say, even though this one pressed nicely, I do feel like as I was pulling this one, it was lifting a little bit, but I feel like this one, since it's thicker, might last longer on the pouch than this one, because even though this one was on there as I was pulling, I felt like even though I was pulling it and it was there, it was lifting. You get what I'm saying? I don't know, I just feel like this one is more thinner, so it's more flimsy, which makes it more sensitive and easier to rip, you know? So you definitely have to be careful with this one. But yeah, overall I'm actually impressed with the way the solid permanent vinyls from Dollar Tree worked out. Like, can you even tell which is which if you didn't know what color was for each? Not really, so this one is definitely not bad in comparison to the Oracle. Now let's talk about the iridescent ones. So here we have the holographic one, and the iridescent one. I will say this one is always gonna be my favorite. It cuts nicely, it weeds easily, so this one I will forever be using. Now in comparison to this, I know it's different styles, but they're both, you know, have that holographic iridescent going on. This one is way more sensitive than this one. This one, as you saw, if you even touch it a little bit or like press it a little bit, it just gives it a dent, so you kind of have to be careful because it's thinner and more delicate. So like I was saying with the other Dollar Tree vinyl, this one is thin, so I feel like in comparison to this one is gonna last a little bit longer because this one is like super thin. So overall, I will say these Dollar Tree vinyls worked out nicely. As you can tell, there wasn't a major fail here or here, and that's what this whole video was about, to see how easy it was to work with them. And look, we have 4 pouches, 2 being Dollar Tree and 2 being vinyls that I always use. So these definitely compete with these because there isn't a major difference when it comes to the final product. Maybe there's a difference to getting to the final product, like with the weeding and all that, but other than that, we have 4 pouches, no major fails, so I would say 2 thumbs up. And here we have my pouches once again. I put water in one just so you could see what it should look like. So here we have it, an adult Capri Sun. Like, how cool is this? You could put whatever drink you want. These come with straws, so I think this is perfect for summer. So luckily all of these worked out. Look, we have no fails here. I will say I was pleasantly surprised with the Dollar Tree vinyl, like how everything turned out, because I had heard some mixed reviews about these vinyls. I'm in a Cricut Facebook group, and sometimes some of them talk about really liking them and some of them talk about them being super horrible. So I honestly had no idea what to expect. So the fact that the ones that I tried out worked out was a very surprising, and I'm actually glad that they do work out, you know? Even though I will say this iridescent one is very sensitive, so it's kind of harder to work with, because as you saw, your weeding tool can't touch it or else it's gonna get messed up. It can't stick to itself because then it's gonna leave a mark or something. Just be very careful when it comes to this one. It's super pretty, but I don't think I'm gonna reach for this as much as I would this one right here, because it's like thicker, it's easier to work with, it's not gonna damage itself like this one. I know it's a different type of holographic, like this one is iridescent, this is holographic. This one doesn't have the same finish as this one, but I have worked with other iridescent vinyls that aren't as sensitive as this one, you know? And this one is definitely way thinner, so this is more like a sticker in comparison to these that are thicker and feel more like a vinyl, you know? But for the other solid permanent vinyls, I was actually super surprised with these. I feel like the pink one weeded way easier than the Oracal one because it had those little intricate cuts, so I was pleasantly surprised to know that this one cut better than the Oracal, because I've never had any issues with the Oracal, you know? So it was surprising to see that this one kind of like beat it out with that. And then for this one that was cut in the vinyl setting, that one weeded easily as well, so I was super surprised that these actually weeded like a dream. So I'm glad that I tried out 3 different cut settings just to see what works and what doesn't. Like I mentioned, I feel like the vinyl and the holographic cut setting might be a little bit too much pressure, because as you saw, the backing did rip a little bit. I don't know what it was, but either way, at least we got them all weeded and it worked out. But yeah, just keep that in mind. Play around with different cut settings. I would say definitely try these out if you're curious. As for me, I feel like when it comes to doing like gifts or projects for people or selling things for people, I may not use the Dollar Tree vinyl because I don't know how strong their adhesive is. I know for sure the Oracle one is gonna last because I've used it before, and this one is known as lasting a long time, and I've never really tried the Dollar Tree one out to find out how long it actually lasts like on something, you know? So for these, I'll definitely use it if it's like something simple that I don't really mind if it lasts or not. And what's also cool about these, I guess I would say Dollar Tree is more convenient to get vinyl because you have a Dollar Tree practically in every corner. As for the Oracle, this one is kind of harder to get. Like you either get it online or you could get it at Michael's. It's definitely more difficult to get a hold of the Oracle one, but if you want like a last minute vinyl and you know that you need it right this second, at least we know that Dollar Tree has some vinyls and they're not going to be a complete fail. At least they weren't for me, you know? So it's nice to know that there's options now. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this review and comparison. Let me know if you tried out Dollar Tree vinyl. I'm curious to know if you liked it or not. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave me your thoughts in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. And yeah, I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.